YNW Melly kills 2 friends, begs judge for release from prison. In a recent hearing at Broward County Court, famous rapper Jamal Demons, known by his stage name YNW Melly, once again attempted to convince the judge to grant him bail while awaiting his retrial this fall. The case has attracted public attention since Melly's arrest in February 2019 on charges of killing 2 of his friends, a case that could result in the death penalty if convicted. 6 years have passed. He has spent 6 birthdays in that prison, the defense attorney emphasized during the hearing, trying to appeal to the judge's compassion. This isn't the first time Melly's defense team has tried to secure bail for their client. Since his arrest in 2019, Melly has been living in conditions that the defense team describes as depriving him of basic human needs, with 23 hours of solitary confinement daily. Melly's first trial ended with a hung jury, necessitating a retrial. Now, with just 4 months before the retrial begins, the defense team is trying to help their client gain temporary freedom. To convince the judge, the defense team presented a series of proposals to ensure Melly would not flee and wouldn't pose a danger to the community. A minimum bail amount, funded by his recording company 24/7 GPS electronic monitoring house arrest at his sister and brother's home. A private security team of 3 people. 1 guard following Melly, 24/7. 2 other guards protecting the house area. The security team would report any violations to the defense team, prosecutors, and the court prohibition on possessing weapons. He is not a flight risk. He has no passport. I don't believe he has a driver's license at this point, the defense attorney argued. We can guarantee his presence at trial. He has been present at every hearing. He will be present at every hearing. The defense team also emphasized that the incident Melly is accused of was a one-time event, unlike someone dealing drugs who might reoffend. Prosecutors strongly opposed allowing Melly to be released on bail with these main reasons. The defendant is charged with murder. He killed 2 people. So, he has clearly demonstrated that he is a danger to the community, the prosecutor argued, though quickly corrected to allegedly after objection from the defense. The prosecutor also emphasized that Melly is also charged with witness tampering while in custody, a charge for which Cortland Henry, accomplice in the case, also known as YNW Bortlin, had his bail revoked for the same reason. Particularly, the prosecutor made a strong argument regarding flight risk. As the court has repeatedly pointed out, Mr. Demons is facing the death penalty. Many countries around the world will not extradite back to the United States if they are facing the death penalty here. So, his flight risk is actually greater because it would be much more difficult to recapture him if he left the jurisdiction. Regarding the witness tampering allegation, the defense attorney argued that the record lacks evidence showing that Mariah Hamilton, who Melly allegedly tried to tamper with, ever had a legal obligation to testify in court. On the flight risk, the defense attorney strongly countered, "I think we mitigate any concerns when I put security watching him. Essentially, that would be a private police officer monitoring him 24 hours a day. The electronic monitoring is being supervised. I have other clients wearing GPS, and I promise you, within minutes of them not being where they should be, someone is at their house checking." So, to say there is concern that Mr. Demons, while under house arrest with GPS monitoring, went to another country is absurd. It's impossible. The attorney also reminded the court that Melly turned himself into police in 2019 when he knew he would be charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. At 19 years old, he could have run, but he didn't. He did the right thing and turned himself in. During the same hearing, the court also discussed evidence that will be admitted in Melly's retrial. Since there was a different judge in Melly's first trial, some decisions on the admissibility of evidence were reconsidered. The court decided to exclude some evidence, particularly evidence related to Melly's gang activities prior to the murders. However, cell phone location information, location data from the day of the murders, and other key information were retained as evidence. The prosecutor asserted that despite some evidence being excluded, they still have a strong case. "We believe the evidence remains strong because, as the court noted, all information from the day of the murder remains." So, the bulk of the evidence presented at the previous trial is still available to the state. What the state is really losing, as I summarized, is a lot of enhancement elements used, such as gang activity, some information related to motive. Key evidence that remains includes ballistic data showing shots were fired from inside the vehicle, evidence that Cortland Henry, YNW Bortlin, lied about the event's location of where the shooting actually occurred, confirmed by shell casings, found phone location data showing Melly's phone moving with the two victims, and then separating before Henry arrived at the hospital. Alleged confession by Melly on Twitter, where he wrote, "I did it." Despite Melly's family and supporters being present in the courtroom, hoping the judge would make an immediate decision, Judge Fine decided to deliver his ruling in the coming days. YNW Melly, real name Jamal Demons, was arrested in February 2019 on charges of murdering two friends and colleagues, Anthony Williams, YNW Sackchaser, and Christopher Thomas Jr., YNW Juvie. Prosecutors allege that Melly and accomplice Cortland Henry, YNW Bortland, staged the scene to look like a drive-by shooting. Melly's first trial ended with a hung jury in 2023, leading to a retrial. Melly's next hearing is scheduled for late June, and the retrial is expected to begin on September 10th this year. The YNW Melly case illustrates the complexity of the criminal justice system, especially in cases potentially facing the death penalty. Balancing the protection of defendant rights with ensuring justice for victims and their families is a difficult challenge. The defense attorney emphasized the presumption of innocence and the right to bail while awaiting trial, while prosecutors focused on the severity of the allegations and potential risk to the public. The purpose of bail is not to punish the defendant, the defense attorney argued. It's to ensure their presence at trial. That's the fundamental goal, to ensure they come to court, ensure they're present at trial, and they don't flee. As YNW Melly continues to await his retrial this fall, the decision on whether he will be granted bail remains an open question. With serious charges and the possibility of facing the death penalty, the future of the 25-year-old rapper remains uncertain. Melly has spent 6 years behind bars, fighting not just for his freedom, but for his life. As the judge considers the defense team's proposal for strict bail conditions, justice for the victims and their families remains a top priority for the justice system. The YNW Melly story also illuminates broader aspects of the U.S. criminal justice system, including issues related to bail in serious cases, rappers' accountability for their image and lyrics when some gang-related content was entered as evidence, and the challenges of fair adjudication in cases potentially facing the death penalty. The retrial on September 10th this year will be the next important milestone in this protracted case, one that has captured public attention and highlighted tensions within the U.S. justice system.